Welcome back, YouTube. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make this cool dagger here. Just like this one. I already sanded and primed the wood. We're going to start by taking the alpha enamel paint and pouring some on a cup. Obviously I'm using white for the background, a little bit of black to make a gray that we're going to be using for the blade here. We have a pretty small square brush. I could have used a better brush, but that's the only one I had. So we're going to go ahead and roll with that. I like to do long strokes, get as much coverage as possible, and we're just gonna paint. Think of a paintbrush like a mop. We're just mopping a nice even layer of paint throughout our subject. Get it nice and even. Once you get the bottom there, corners are pretty tricky, so take your time. I've been doing this since November, so I have a little bit of practice, not too much. I picked up a paintbrush in November, so I'm still learning. I'm not a professional by any means. I'm only in a few months. But being very careful here at the edge of the sword. I'm not trying to be perfect because, as you can see, the outline, I'm going to go back with it with black paint. So if you make any mistakes, it's fine. Just do your best right now. We can always go back and forth. As a beginner, don't worry too much about your speed. Just worry more about getting it right, getting it the way you want it to look. Now we move on with a round paintbrush. I made this mustardy bronzy color that I'm gonna use on the handle of the sword. And as you guys can see, the paint for some reason was very thin. So right now I'm only focusing on the first layer. I'm really just trying to get as close to, or get as much coverage inside the selected area. But we're gonna go back and do a second layer, so it doesn't matter. See, it looks pretty shitty there on the left side. Now I'm back on my square brush, just going around the big red oval there. Being very, very careful. Just like that. Now I switched to, again, the same color, but I switched to using a pinstriping brush. And I like to use this brush obviously on smaller areas, but also to make my round, to paint my curved areas. Now the reason why you see that I'm only painting half of it, so my initial idea, which didn't really go as planned, I was gonna do half of the handle in one color, and then the other half I was gonna pick a lighter color to kind of give it a cool effect. But when I ended up mixing the second color that I was going to do on the other side, it ended up looking just like this color. You can barely tell the difference, but you have to really look. But if you didn't know that it was supposed to be two-tone, you would not see it whatsoever. So anyways, yeah, so you're going to see me painting this the hard way, but you know what, I already filmed it. I'm going to drop the video, so enjoy. As you can see, I'm using just the tip of my brush. That looks about right. Now we move on to the other areas. Making sure we have a nice layer of paint on our brush. Nice and even amount. That's what I learned that if you have an even amount of paint on the brush, that's going to make for very clean lines. As you can see, I made like a little mistake there, but again, you can always fix it. Use the stencil that you drew on your wood. Not so much as like not just fill in the color, but if you see any adjustments that need to be made, use the stencil as your guide. That's all it is. It's not there to kind of keep you within the lines. It's to use it as a guide, but you're always going to catch things as an artist as you proceed doing your work. And if something needs to be changed, then by any means go ahead and do it. Oof, that was nice and satisfying. I know something about painting, it can be very frustrating, but also you get those nice little moments when you have a really good stroke, and it's just so super satisfying. As you can see, I'm doing the edges first, then I go for the inside, the more bulkier sides. And yes, we could have done this a lot easier again, but I don't know. Honestly, like, I have different painting patterns. Sometimes I don't even realize what I'm doing. I'm just so much in the zone that I forget that I could do it in an efficient way. But as long as I'm having fun, that's you know, that's all that matters. I'm not really, this project here wasn't a commission, it was just for fun, so I'm not really rushing it, just having fun with it. And as you can see with the stencil, I kind of overshot that, so I wanted to make it a bit shorter for that piece there, so I just stopped there. And you see those 2 white gaps in there? I could have, again, went straight through with the yellow, but I figured, just to kind of show you guys better, let's say if you're working with 2 or more colors, you would separate it like so. Separate it like so, leaving a very, very thin gap where the stencil lines are. That way you can kind of have all the paints drying at once instead of like waiting for one to finish and then you use the other paint, but it makes it a lot faster. Again, I'm not really working for speed here. I did it more so for the video's sake. Be very careful. At this point I'm using the very, very tip of the brush, very, very lightly. Just trying to get around this circle. I'm not trying to touch the red paint, obviously. Nice. It's getting there, guys. It's getting there. The handle kind of looks like a bee's, you know, stinger. I think the body of a bee. That's what it reminds me of. Actually, what inspired me for this red and yellow colors is those. I don't know if you ever seen those Spanish playing cards. If you're Mexican, chances are you've seen them. Yeah, if you're Mexican, I'm sure you probably found a deck of card, you know, at some party at one point. But that's why I decided to go with these 2 colors. I think it's super clean too. I didn't want to do nothing too, I don't know, nothing too bold, or just wanted to keep it simple with a bright red and the nice calm mustard bronzy yellow. Again, I overshot with the stencil on this piece, so I'm just gonna go ahead and create a different shape, trying to make it somewhat even with the next one. That's about right, guys. All right, so on to the next one. We're gonna do the outline here. So you're gonna see that my outline is gonna be very jaggedy. It's not gonna be super straight, and honestly I didn't really plan this, but I ended up liking the way it looked at the end. But the reason why it became so jaggedy is because I didn't use any thinner or any mineral oil to kind of the thing is, like, the thinner your paint is, it's gonna flow more evenly. Think of like a pen, right? Like, it's just, it flows out nice and smooth and even. But this paint here, for some reason, was really thick, and I don't know. I don't know if it was just laziness. I didn't want to mix it or what, but I just went ahead and proceeded with that. So again, it wasn't supposed to be like this, and to be honest, at first, if you look at it from a perspective of, you know, of the painting having straight lines, obviously it's gonna look pretty bad. But again, I like the jaggedy look. It almost makes like a worn out blade type of look, if you know what I mean. Here we go. This, as you can see, the brush, I used a pinstriping brush. I remember this morning I couldn't find my good pinstriping brush, so I used this one, which is a modified brush, and maybe this made it harder too, but because the brush itself, the hairs felt very lanky, like they was very sensitive to pressure. But I cut half of the hairs on it, so it makes for, I was trying to get thinner lines, and again, my cheap ass just didn't want to buy new brushes, so I went ahead and just used it. As you can see, I'm using the pinky to kind of steady my hand right at the edge of the piece there, trying to go all the way through, but then it gets tricky, so I'm gonna have to lift my pinky here soon enough. Right there. Alright, now we're gonna do the outline of our handle here, starting at the base. I'm not that great with round edges like that. I'm still trying to figure out the whole feel and movement of, you know, kind of twisting and turning the brush with your fingertips as you paint. That's still very tricky to me, so bear with me here. I know some of you guys are probably looking like, man, I could probably do better. If you guys are professionals, drop some tips, or not professional, but if you're just better drop me some tips, guys. Drop some comments, help me out. Or if you guys want to ask me any questions, I'll try my best to help. Any concerns, if you don't like the video, you know, tell me why you don't like the video. Back to the painting. So again, being very careful with these round edges. Now we're gonna do the bottom there. That part is a darker yellow, as you guys can barely tell, but I didn't do the, I should have added a little bit more black to make it stand out more. But again, at the end of the piece here, I ended up just liking all the, you know, quote unquote mistakes that I made ended up being what really gives it character. So I just went ahead and roll with it. Trying to make these perfect lines here. Not perfect, but you know, as best as I can. Boom, we're dropping the brush, putting pressure, then we slide across. Boom. Put the pressure, slide across, lift up, boom. We're gonna do again. Go back if you see any mistakes, and we can always go back to when it dries. Try to do your best. That looks good. Let's finish up the line here. Boom. 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 That looks good. Do these little lines on the side here before we do our red circles. Nice, nice. All the way through, right there. It's funny, whenever I do long lines, I start off very confident for like 20% of the line, but then once it gets closer to the end, I just start to freak out because I don't want to. It's a whole like stop where you are head mindset, which is I'm having an issue kind of getting over, but I'm working on it. Now this is the part that I really just firmly grasp that piece before you paint. But boom, right there. Nice, nice, nice. Boom, lift off. Try not to overshoot. Boom. At this point, it probably would have been wise to use a maul stick to help kind of keep my hand off the project, just in case. I mean, I'm sure it happened to all of us where we're painting, we just kind of get so into the painting that we forget it's still a wet surface, so we end up getting paint all over our hands. But boom, clean. So that's it, guys. That's the video for the dagger. If you like the video, make sure to like the video, drop any comments, and subscribe because I got some more cool stuff coming. Take care. I am selling this dagger on my Etsy account, so if you want to just pick one up, make sure and check it out. Thank you so much.